Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, coming to you live from our Abuja studio. Standing by with me is Dr. Nazifi Darma, who is a professor of development economics at the University of Abuja. Now, let's go a little bit deeper now. We talked a little bit earlier on about GDP per capita, and obviously that being low in comparison with some of the other middle income and developing economies in the world. But one of the things that's cited, when you look at the Chinese example, Governor Obi raised it, is how they were able to bring hundreds of millions out of poverty, but then very few kind of appreciate the fact that there were social policies in place to complement the fiscal and monetary policies that they put in place. Can you give us, in terms of the one-child policy and then the two-child policy to check population explosion, can you, in the Nigerian context now, when you look at what is happening in places like the north, where you have a man who's earning less than 20,000 naira per month, but he has, 25 children with 6 different women, how do you now check population growth in Nigeria at a time when we're trying to build the national economy and put people to work?
Well, if you look at the Chinese economy, in fact, it has been dubbed the most sustainable miracle in terms of development policy and success. Within a space of 25 years, 400 million people were lifted out of poverty. Now, you can allude to the fact that multiplicity of factors make it possible for the Chinese to achieve this. Number one is the fact that they have an extremely disciplined leadership. Number two, they also have an extremely disciplined population. Number three, they are consistent with national development planning culture over the last 50 years. Their macroeconomic policy is predictable. The economic direction is ascertainable.
Disciplined one-party rule, yeah.
Disciplined one-party rule. Number four, the leadership lead by example. And that is why the followership always obeys the leadership. The one-child or two-child policy that had made it possible for China to tame its population growth and therefore being able to move so many people out of poverty couldn't have been a success without a leadership that lives by example, and that is why the followership always follow that. Now, coming back to Nigeria, issues of number of children, as you have said, which is true. Now, it may not be possible to legislate it, but it is possible to undertake massive publicity to be able to bring out the negative implications associated with having so many children and maybe to portray the positivities associated with that. You see, we are in a democracy and therefore there is a limit to which you can be able to force things on people. And the Chinese model is a bit autocratic and therefore they were able to achieve some success relative to us. But here in Nigeria, one of the fundamental causes of public policy failure that I have witnessed, I was a former director of the National Planning Commission, is that most of our policies do not have publicity component. And policy, per se, is a process of trying to change behavior or to change attitude or to make people to behave in a different way. Now, if you don't have a publicity component that will tell people the benefits associated with the anticipated changes in behavior to drive the success of the policy will never succeed. And that is why it is also very important for this present administration to come out publicly to tell people exactly what they have done, sector by sector, with statistics and figures, so that people will be convinced that whatever we have spent in terms of debt, there is a visible result attached to it. But importantly,
yes, please.
But importantly, we are operating in a federating economy. There is jurisdiction given to federal government, there is given to state government, there is given to local government. If we don't have a unified medium-term national planning development culture that clearly defines the responsibility of each of the 3 components in terms of developmental intervention, we will never get it right. The ERGP that we have now is not a medium-term national development plan. is a policy document or a strategy document. What we need is to combat the defined initiatives, objectives, and strategies encapsulated there into implementable projects and programs across the three tiers of government with mutual complementarity in such a way that we can be able to move. There's so many people that are out of... Look, we have so many people that are operating in the informal sector. If you look at the statistics of the people that are unemployed, which is over 18%, which is approximately 40 million. So it means with over 40 million Nigerians, which I'm absolutely sure is higher, we are able to achieve 1.5% GDP growth rate. Now, if you energize the informal sector through collaborative, coordinative, and consultative policy framework across the three tiers of government, believe me sincerely, this country can achieve 10% growth rate. The Chinese have done it, the South Koreans have done it. It is possible for Nigerians to do it. It's not rocket science.
I think many would agree with you. You know, Dr. Darma, I want to look a little bit deeper at that issue, because when we look at the system of education, or in some cases lack of system of education in the northern region at the moment, when you couple the population explosion that continues unchecked with the lack of development in terms of academic institutions, and even within the Almajiri educational system, there isn't a set standard for how you equip the young people coming in for the labor force, whether informal or formal. Excellent. And so how do you now adjust the Almajiri system while also building traditional academic centers, and also put some pressure potentially on leaders in the north to speak out? Because we saw the tremendous backlash that the Emir of Kano faced when he began to speak about these issues. Is there more that the leadership in that region can do to check the population explosion and stem this tide of growth rate in the amount of poor people in the country?
It will interest you to know that I'm a product of the Almajiri system. I can write legibly in Arabic. I can also write in Hausa using Arabic alphabets. The Almajiri system has failed. Let us tell ourselves the home truth. It needs to be reformed. There is a difference between biological parenthood and real parenting. Anybody that is an adult, that is sexually active, can give birth to children. But it's not everybody that is actually a parent. A parent is supposed to be the guardian, the controller and the coordinator of the behavior, the success of his own children.